Apple Home and Apple TV are getting some big upgrades with iOS 27, with the biggest changes coming to cameras and HomeKit secure video with support up to 4K cameras, a brand new way to look at recordings, and even use Apple Intelligence to summarize what your cameras have seen, streamline notifications, see energy use by device in the Home app, and Apple TV got a few new features, including a brand new podcast app that supports video. So here are all the changes coming to Apple Home in iOS 27. To show you the differences, I'm gonna have iOS 26 here on the left, and this is iOS 27 beta here on the right. And once you update one of your home hubs to the beta, whether on Apple TV, 2nd or 3rd gen 4K, or one of your HomePods, you'll see this splash screen when you open the Home app. Hold on one second, this is Steven from the future, and beta 2 dropped as I was making this video. So this was the screen you saw during the first beta, and this is what it looks like in beta 2. It still talks about Apple Intelligence in Home, thermostat and smart plug usage in the energy section, we'll get to that in a minute, and flexible accessory setup, meaning you can start setting up an accessory or even multiple accessories, stop the process, and then go back to it. That's a very welcome update. And one other change in beta 2 of iOS 27, you'll now be able to update your Apple TVs directly from the Home app. So if you go to the three dots here in the top right, go to Home Settings, and then go all the way down to Software Update. I already updated my Apple TV to beta 2, but you can go to Updated Recently, and you'll see any Apple TV that's in your home that's on the tvOS 27 beta will show up here. And then you'll be able to update them all with one tap on this page, and you'll see this toggle was added for home accessories, not just HomePods being updated here, but also your Apple TV and maybe future devices like a HomePod with a screen. Those were the big changes in beta 2, so back to the original video. You're gonna have reduced notifications, better attribution for who's coming and going from your home, and video summaries. But reduced notifications are clearly not there yet because I'm still getting a bunch. Hopefully we'll see that in later betas of iOS 27. But let's go to the Home app. And the biggest upgrade are coming to camera support and HomeKit secure video in iOS 27. One, it will support up to 4K cameras, and navigating your cameras, especially recordings, is vastly improved. I'll go to the front door camera I have right here, and one, you'll notice that you can now stream to multiple devices a live camera feed. Before, if a second device tried to access it, it would tell you this stream is already going. You'll see slight differences with the talk button, and you'll see past recordings are down here, so I can navigate that way. And you'll see little summaries appear here. This is powered by Apple Intelligence. And not only do you get a summary here in iOS 27, but I can tap the three-line menu here in the bottom left, and I can then filter for different kinds of activity. For instance, I could search just for packages and deliveries, noteworthy, people, animals, vehicles, and more. Let's go to Vehicles, I'll uncheck Packages and Delivery, and now the recordings that I tap through here will only show vehicles. I can go to Packages and Deliveries, go through the different recordings, and I can see different packages that have arrived throughout the day. Let me go back to the live view for both cameras, and one of the other options you have in iOS 27 is to go to an all cameras view. Now all the recordings down here will show all the cameras, whereas before I had to choose just one camera to look at. Also being here in the live view, if I wanted to keep an eye on this camera, I can actually go into picture-in-picture mode. If I was looking at a camera in iOS 26 and swipe to go home, the video would just close. But now I can tap picture-in-picture on this camera, it'll go into that picture-in-picture window, you see the microphone to talk back, and I get that live view of the camera even if I'm doing other things on my phone or my iPad. This is a welcome addition, especially when we're having something like a birthday party and I want to keep an eye on the pool. Love that picture-in-picture is there. And if I go back to the all cameras view here in iOS 27, I can also tap the three dots and you'll see Show Camera Switcher. If I tap there, I can now quickly jump to any of my other cameras, so rather than having to go up here and tap another one, I can quickly go to my garage camera just right here under the live view. I can look over at my patio. And yes, there's also my camera here in the office. If I go back to my front door, search is also improved here in the Home app. So if I tap the magnifying glass here, previously there wasn't really any search option. You'd be able to search for words, things like van or UPS truck, and those search results will come up here. And you still have access to control accessories that are associated with whatever room the camera is in you're currently viewing. Again, these little summaries, the ability to filter your recordings, and even search, it's a huge win. And filtering by packages, I can go back and see all the deliveries that might have happened over the last few days. By the way, the cameras that we've been looking at, like my doorbell camera, my garage cam, and more, those are all HomeKit secure video from Aqara, which happens to be today's sponsor. And they have some incredible sales going on right now for Prime Day. There's a massive sale on the G410 doorbell camera hub. It's got Thread, Matter, even power over Ethernet, and up to 2K support, which you'll now be able to see in Apple Home with iOS 27. I did an entire review on it, and I think it's the best HomeKit secure video camera you can get right now. And here in the US, it's only $99. It also works great with the new W200 smart thermostat. It also has thread, matter, and it's even a presence sensor, so you can automate things just by presence in the room using the thermostat. And when someone rings the G410 video doorbell, you can see a preview of that on the thermostat. Aqara also had the first ultra-wideband smart lock, the U400. Just approach with your Apple Watch or iPhone and it will unlock automatically. Plus you still have fingerprint, PIN code entry, and a physical key. Great deal on that right now. And the camera I have here in the office, that's the Aqara Hub G5 Pro. You can get a wireless version or power over Ethernet, that's the one I have. It also has thread, matter, acts as an Aqara hub, just like their thermostat and video doorbell. Incredible video quality, night vision, perfect as an outdoor camera or wherever you would like. And if you're looking for a smart lock with a fingerprint sensor and home key support so you can unlock with your watch and iPhone, the Aqara U100 is also on sale. And I mentioned presence sensor automations a second ago. Well, the Aqara FP300, I have one right here in my studio. And whenever I walk in the morning, my studio comes to life, the shades open, the lights turn on, and it's all because that presence sensor is automated. I automate lights throughout the house with those door and window sensors, and you can get a 3-pack on sale right now. And under every sink in my home, plus the utility room, I have Aqara's water leak sensors. The 3-pack is on sale for Amazon Prime Day, and that saved us some huge headaches and money. I'll put links to all of those Aqara products that are on sale for Prime Day down in the video description. And my thanks to Aqara for sponsoring this video. A few more home updates before we go to Apple TV. Like I mentioned, you can stream the camera to multiple devices at the same time live. That'll be great so you can stream on your Apple TV as well as your iPhone or iPad. Also something new in iOS 27, you have the grid energy forecast, which that was the same in iOS 26. But in 27, you'll actually see usage for specific devices right here. So my fill light here in the studio, that's actually an Eve Energy. And for any of the devices that report that energy usage, I'll be able to see that here in the Home app, something that wasn't available in iOS 26. And finally, iOS 27 will integrate Thread 1.4 into the Home app. So Thread border routers from different home networks will be able to join the same Thread network rather than creating their own. So if you do have a Google Home device that's Thread, or maybe some Amazon devices, they'll actually be able to talk to each other on the same Thread network. And Matter 1.6 was recently announced, and that comes with the promise that when you add any smart device to your home ecosystem, so let's say you add a Matter device in Apple Home, it should be seen in Google Home and other smart home ecosystems. Now, Matter 1.6 is not in iOS 27, so hopefully that'll be coming soon in the future. Now let's go over to Apple TV because the Apple Podcast app has a huge redesign. In tvOS 27 beta, when you open the Podcast app, it now supports video, and now even those timed links to other shows work in the Apple Podcast app. First, in the left-hand sidebar, you'll see a latest episode section matching the Podcast app on your iPhone or iPad. Any stations you've created, like First Up, that's also here, and you can go see all your shows. You can also go to the New tab to discover new shows, go to your Home tab, and this is a much nicer design, having the full page here at the top showing you whatever episodes are currently in your queue, and you can see some of the sections you will see in the Apple Podcast app. Apple is featuring shows here in the new section as well, but if we go to the Library tab, I'll go to Shows, and let's go to a show with video, like Primary Technology. That's my weekly tech podcast with Jason ATEM, by the way. Scan this QR code, and you can listen or watch in Apple Podcasts, and soon watch on your Apple TV with tvOS 27. But here you have the nice full-page show art up at the top, and if you go down, all the custom episode artwork, which we have custom artwork for every episode, actually shows up across all the different bonus and full episodes. Then if I go to actually play a video, I'll click this one here. Video pops on automatically. It's a great player. You can scrub back and forth like you would do watching any Apple TV content. You can also change the playback speed right here, and the audio enhancements that are also in the Apple Podcast iPhone app, like enhanced dialogue and reduced loud sounds, those are all available. And you'll also see a From This Episode section, so those timed links. If another podcast is mentioned in this podcast, you'll see that link right there. You can click it and it will jump to it here in the Apple TV app. So all those timed links to podcasts are available. You can see the host pictures, and if you go over to Info, you can actually see the full show notes here in the Apple TV Podcast app. Here you do have to swipe on the Apple TV remote and you can see all the show notes. Of course, you can't click any of the links, but at least you can see the chapter timestamps and any other info that might have been in the show notes. Now, unfortunately, there are no chapters available in the Apple TV Podcast app. Maybe that will come in a later beta, so get subscribed and stay tuned. But thankfully, chapters are coming to video shows in Apple Podcasts on iPhone and iPad. Also, if you're playing a podcast and go back to the Apple TV home screen, that podcast will keep playing audio in the background. Then if you click and hold the Apple TV icon on the remote, you'll see that Podcast Now Playing is here in the Control Center. I can swipe down and jump back to it in the Podcast app. pause it, or scrub forward and back. There's also some new options for captions here, specifically captions for videos that you might have in the Photos app, or videos that don't already have captions. If you go down to Settings and Accessibility, then go down to Subtitles and Captioning, you'll see here you can show generated subtitles for videos that might not already have captions. You can do large text, you can go to a classic look, outline text, and you can even edit the styles and create your own style here on Apple TV. Also, one of the new features is called Smart Downloads on tvOS 27. Still unclear what exactly that will do. Supposedly it will preemptively download content that it expects you're about to watch, but I'm not sure if that's full movies, episodes, if that's podcasts. So again, stay tuned. If I get more details on that, I'll let you know. And finally, when it comes to HomePod, we're not getting a ton of features here. Auto Mix, the feature in Apple Music that will kind of mix songs together, I actually don't prefer it. I go back to the normal crossfade personally. But that will be available on HomePod, and faster AirPlay connections, which go along with all the system improvements that Apple's bringing across the lineup. Which, if you want to see all the new features in iOS 27, I did a whole video on that right up here, coming to iPhone, covering a lot of those improvements. Also, there are a ton of new changes coming to shortcuts, new actions, new automation triggers like third-party app notifications. I did a video covering that, which I'll link here, and videos are coming this summer all about that. But if you want to get an early look and tune into my weekly live streams where we're going to be diving really deep into all the new changes, you can join my Shortcuts community here, and if you become a member, you'll be able to get those live streams, watch all the live stream recordings, get my Shortcut of the Week, my Shortcuts database, and a ton more. Or you could just join for free and join over 4,000 other people sharing shortcuts, helping each other build them, and more. There'll be lots of changes during beta season, so stay tuned. I'll be covering them all here on the channel, and also in my podcast, which are linked down in the video description. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.